3:30 today. But tomorrow, got nothing. Calendar it's at 4:30. Hi. Hold on, let me get the dog. Mellow. Mellow. Okay. Oh, here he comes. Hey, Tiff.
Hey.
Hey, Erin.
How are you?
Good. Do you work with Jamie? Is that how you found me? My sister-in-law?
I do.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. Is that your sister-in-law?
Uh-huh. It is. Hold on. I got you, Tiff. You're muted. Jessica's here. Hey, Jess. She's hidden and muted.
Sorry, I'm just unmuting right now.
You're like, I'm going to hang out with you, but only kind of. I'm only going to pretend to do this with you. Okay. We got a few more coming. Erin, did you get your homework done?
Mostly.
Good.
I've not written everything out, but I've definitely been thinking about it.
That's good.
My goal is to finish it all this weekend.
That's a good goal. It's a lot to think about, right? This is
It is.
I think a lot of people don't give this book the credit that it actually deserves. You know, they just kind of see it and they're like, vision board. No, it's a lot. It's a lot.
I've loved it so far.
It is awesome. All right, Tiffany, you're here. Tiffany, are you at the hospital?
Here, I'll get myself all ready. Yes.
Yes,
we're in the hospital. We're having fun. Don't know when we'll get out.
Okay. That's
so we're cute.
But you're here and you're cute. Cooper. Awesome. Okay. Tiffany and some of you know each other. Let's do a quick, who are we? Crystal's not going to be here. Did anybody message in the group? Is anybody stuck trying to get on Zoom? Oh, Kristen's coming. Marquet's going to be late. Who else do we have? Because I know, like Erin, you're at work, so we have to stick to our schedule. Okay, let's do a quick, like a super quick introduction, because I feel like you guys knowing each other a little bit is going to make it easier to share. And I think the more you kind of share on this journey, you'll learn from each other. And that's going to be awesome. So Tiffany Adams, go first. Tell these wonderful ladies who you are.
I'm Tiffany Adams. What do you want to know? I have 4 kids. I stay at home. My life is crazy, just like everybody's.
She's got a baby right there.
Yeah, she's 4 months.
Right there. Okay, Crystalline?
All right, well, my name is Crystalline Kay. I'm 32. I'm a pediatric registered nurse. I work full time. I have 2 beautiful kids, 6 and 3. They're crazy, they're sassy. They keep me young. Do you guys want to know anything else?
Are you walking to a safe place for your call right now while working?
I am.
That's what I figured.
Yes, I'm walking to a place where I'm not going to get bugged.
Tiffany Johnson.
Okay, there we go. Now I'm ready. So I am, I'm Tiffany Johnson. I have 3 children, and a 7-year-old, 4-year-old, and a 1-year-old who's cute and in the hospital. He had his tonsils and adenoids taken out a little over a week ago, and his airway did not like it. And so he was intubated until Tuesday. So we are now getting back on the road to recovery. We live in Huntsville, Alabama, but in the hospital in Nashville. And so, yeah, we're having fun.
Awesome. Erin, you want to go?
Sure. I'm Erin Kale. I am 38. I'm a department manager for a medical office. I have 0 kids, just a dog, and that's me.
Yay. Jessica, you're up. Are you on the call?
What?
Are you good? You good to tell us
I'm
who you are?
good. Hold on. If you not see me,
No. You got to hit your video.
hold on. I'm on my bike. I didn't get it in, so I'm getting it in right now.
Good for you. Tell everybody who you are.
I'm Jessica. I am in Fort Lauderdale, and I have 1 daughter, and I'm a real estate broker.
Yay. All right, Debbie, your turn.
Hi, Debbie Adams. I live in Riverview, Florida, just outside of Tampa. And we're empty nesters now, but I have 10 children. One on a mission going to Kobe, Japan, and a mission for our church in service and proselyting. So, and let's see, what else anyway,
You know what,
Florida life.
Debbie, there's going to be, she's not on right now, but Sarah Hearns will be in our group too, and she lives right outside of Tampa.
Oh, fun.
There you go. Now you know. That's all I got. Hope you learned something today. Just kidding. Okay, I'm going to start. We are recording. I forgot I put for it to start recording automatically. Okay, who's excited? I think I have everybody muted. So if you have something to say, unmute yourself and interrupt me. But I do that just because there's always so much background noise if we're not muted, and it makes it hard to hear. So let's see. Future boards. Who is so excited about future boards? Yay! I know, like, people on my Plexus team have a ton of stuff going on, but this is all going to roll together, and I'm so excited to do this so that, you know, too often we wait till January 1st. You guys are going to, like, have dreams in place and already be working towards them before some people are even like, I think I want to lose 15 pounds this year. Like, it's going to be awesome. So who did their homework? Most of you, or at least read? So here's the thing. We'll be interactive. I'll go over some stuff that I think for sure I'm going to cover to kind of go more in depth than the book. But like I said, I really want this to be interactive because I think we can learn from each other. You can let me know what you need more of, what you understand, or what kind of didn't make sense, or really what you're struggling with, because there's a good chance if you're struggling with a certain aspect of it, other ladies are also. There's a solid chance, even though there's only like 10 of us, that you're not going to be alone in your struggle. So first of all, when we took the test of dreamers versus thinkers, raise your hand if you were a dreamer. And then what do we got? Erin was.
So the test, the things where she had listed the things.
Yeah, like, yeah, you either tended more towards dreamers or thinkers, or some people were, like, I was both. I got yes on a lot of the different, so I think that I really was lucky. I landed square in the middle of both. But do I have more dreamers or do I have more thinkers?
I feel like I'm split down the middle.
Okay, that's good. That's going to benefit you. That's going to be a huge benefit.
I'm down the middle too. I
Okay.
had like yeses and nos on both, kind of equally.
Okay. What do you got?
I would say I'm I would say I'm probably both, but maybe more leaning toward thinker.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I didn't.
I'm the same as Crystalline.
I did not see your results, but yes, I would say Crystalline's a really great thinker. Tiffany, what's that?
I'm a thinker.
Tiffany John.
Surprise, surprise, I'm a thinker.
Shocking. Jessica, I'm gonna unmute you while you're writing. What were you?
I am in down the middle too.
You are. I thought that you were down the middle. And Marquet, what were you?
I am more of a dreamer, but I have thinker tendencies since I've gotten married because my husband's broke me.
It's a shame. It's a shame what those thinkers do to us.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the thing. The beginning of this process, while we're beginning to write dreams and hopes and things like that, that part is going to be easier for the dreamers in the beginning. But then as we start to really work through things, the thinkers are going to benefit. Here's what though. All of those skills are learned. So we're going to learn the skills, because clearly you would not be in this book study if you had it all figured out and every goal and dream that you wrote down, you reached. Like you wouldn't be like hanging out with Kristy Barkley. You'd be writing books or something, right? If everything you worked on came to fruition. So what we're going to work on is creating the skill sets we need for what we want to take effect. Because lots of times, and then I'm not going to read the book to you. It's over here, but oftentimes dreamers, they come up with something big and grand and great, and they tell everybody, and they go full steam ahead, and then people kind of start popping their bubble. I'm like, you can't do that. You're never gonna, you're always saying you're gonna do this or that. But problem is if we haven't been super successful at all these grand dreams that we've told people of things we're gonna do, they don't actually believe we can do it. And so do they have a right to blow our dreams up? They kind of do. And you know who I think is the worst at that? Our spouses. I feel like the people closest to us are the ones who, they'll be like, yeah, I'll cheer you on. But in their mind, they're like, 6 months ago, she said she was going to do blah, blah, blah. She ain't done it. So what we're going to do is we're going to succeed. Because once we succeed, guess what? They don't have anything to say. They're either going to cheer us on, or there's going to be people in your life that as you start to succeed more, will likely fall out of your life. Because some people who aren't successful at very many things, do you know who they don't like hanging out with? Super successful people. It doesn't make them feel comfortable. They don't like hanging out with super successful people. So your tribe, my tribe through my last 3 months with Sarah Centrella has changed a bit. Like who I'm in daily contact with and who I do stuff with, because I choose now, and we're pretty selective about who my crew is on a regular basis. And you will be too, because it'll start to really pop up. You'll really start to notice the naysayers, and you're like, I know I still got stuff to prove, but you're not going to knock me down. Okay. So first you took your test, then you had to write your before story. Who was super happy with their before story? But were you honest? Here's what I want to know. Did you really write it? Because this is for you. This is kind of like, when we're trying to lose weight or trying to lose inches and we take a before picture, so that when we're feeling really good, we take our after picture and we put it side by side and we post it and we say, look how awesome we are. That's what this is for. You know what also happens? I don't know if any of you have ever done this. You take your before picture and you're going to start something new and you're going to get super healthy, but you don't. Do you take an after picture? No. Because you're like, sister, ain't got nothing to prove to anybody. I failed that one. I'm going to have to start over. How many times have you guys done that? I got this. I'm going to do this. I'm changing something. I'm going to take a before picture. And you can't wait for like 8 weeks down the road to show off your success, except for then you didn't have any. And so then you're like, I suck at this.
I probably have at least 10 before pictures.
Yeah. With no
10
afters
before.
attached to them to like
No
prove
afters.
something awesome to people.
No afters, just befores.
I have before pictures going back on my computer. Like, I feel like ever since Rob and I have been married, we try something, like, you know, whatever we would try. But that's human nature. And that's why when we come up with these big dreams, people like closest to us, they don't think we can do them because how many times have we said we're going to do it? But you actually, if you stick with me through this whole 6-week process, you're going to have an after story. You know how I know that? Because when I wrote my before story. When I did the book study with Sarah Centrella led it when the book very first came out. So I wrote my before story July 20th of 19. It's 19, July 20th. So a few months ago, I look at it now and I was like, so much has changed already. Like I'm blown away of the things that I wrote that have already shifted. But if I didn't really write them down, I don't know that I would notice. Also, if I didn't have Sarah every single week asking me what's changed this week to constantly, but that's what I pay her for as my life coach week in and week out, is she constantly is like, this sounds different. Or you said this 3 weeks ago, what about this? But you guys just on your own don't have that benefit. So you've written it all down and keep that, because we're going to write towards the end another amazing story. And you're going to be shocked. You really are. So many things are going to change. So that's what that's for. So if you weren't totally honest in it, go get more honest, because you don't have to share it in the group. You don't have to tell me. You know, it's for you. It's for you to really take a pulse of where you are and celebrate what you're awesome at. And also take a good note of things that you want to change. And what you want to change could be the people around you. It could be money. It can be all, it's whatever. So that's super important. Then you did the power of what ifs. For my dreamers, this is super easy. And also probably a little easier for the people on my Plexus team, because I've been making them do it for years. So we've worked on a lot. What's going to be amazing is when they realize how much better they get at this in 6 weeks. Is anybody willing to share some of their what if statements? Or one or something, anything. Just unmute yourself and tell me something awesome. For instance, I wrote, what if I write a best-selling book? What if? What if I had an 80-foot yacht with a crew parked in my backyard?
I'll share one of mine.
Tell me.
What if I owned a cabin and acres of land somewhere in Wyoming?
Perfect.
One of mine is, what if we could build our dream home?
It better be in Florida.
It's not.
For those that don't recognize the last names on the pages, Debbie is Tiffany's mother-in-law. So you never know what you're going to get.
Mine in the mountains in Utah.
Who else has some what ifs that they're going to share?
I have, what if I have more money coming in than going out?
Okay.
That's not huge, like big, but it's big. Like right now.
Yeah.
I'll share another one of mine. What if I could pay off my house?
Awesome. Erin?
I've got, what if I started my own business?
Awesome. Awesome. Marquet, do you want to share anything?
Yeah, I put, what if I could provide for my family to take a vacation out of state each year?
Awesome. Jessica?
Oh, you know me. What if I could go on a Disney cruise every year?
I was going to say, what if you could just move into Cinderella's castle?
Yeah. No, I want to go. The other one is, what if I could go to all the Disney parks?
I love it. So here's the thing. As you were right, who struggled Who did okay for like 4 or 5 and then struggled to fill in the rest? Was that tough for anybody? It is, right? Why is that? You know why it is? I'll tell you. It is because up until today, you all have preconceived and hard set in place mindsets around dreaming and around what you're capable of having and what can come to you. And so, correct me if I'm wrong, but probably a lot of you, when you would start to write down a dream, something, you would hear a voice in your head, and it's probably always the same person's voice. I learned who mine was, and when I shifted it, it made all the difference in the world. But somebody that'll pop up and go, you could never afford that. Or when would you have the time to go and do that? Or if you do that, what are people going to think of you? Like, are you, you think you're all that, so you deserve a second home? Did anybody have anything like that happen as they started to dream, where little voice popped up in their head and reminded them of why they didn't deserve things or why they shouldn't have it? That's what we're going to break through. That's what's going to be huge, because you can all day long write down dreams, but if you don't figure out how to get rid of that voice and change that chatter, guess what? You're not going to get any. Also, the other cool thing is how much emotion we're going to turn into your what if statements. It's going to come, but get ready for it. It's going to be so much more than just the house in Wyoming with acres so that you can hunt on it. Like, we're going to tie so much into that you can't hardly like stop thinking of it, because so much is tied into it. But here's the thing. Here's what I want you to think about. And people who, again, some of you have heard me say this a lot and some of you haven't. But here's the thing. When that negative chatter comes, if you stop it and you just are like, but what if I could? What if I could? What if I could have that? What if, like anything you're thinking of, as soon as the negative thought comes in, just like, that's the power of what if. What if I could be double diamond? Who is to stop me from having an 80-foot yacht parked in my backyard? Because those of you that watch any of my lives, 80 foot is about the smallest boat parked out here on my balcony. They're typically around 150 foot. So I'm not trying to be fancier than anybody by having an 80-foot super yacht. Like, there's a lot of people in my backyard with 80-foot super yachts. Like, what if I had one? So clearly after 3 months, I've stopped the chatter, because I truly do believe, like, I'll have one. I'm going to have one. But I wasn't. Like, if I look at my what if statements, and I was so afraid writing them. I can tell by the way I wrote them. Like, I was so like not comfortable with thinking that I would have any of the things. You know what else was a big thing in my what if statements? It was a lot of material things. There were not a lot of adventures or things with emotion tied to them. It was a lot of material stuff, but we're going to work through that. Here's what you should know. What if God has a much bigger plan for you than you ever envisioned? And I think we can all kind of accept, or what if the universe, if you don't believe in God, what if the universe like has this huge plan, but it needs you to like move forward before you can start, and it needs you to believe. It needs you to believe there's a big, awesome plan out there. What if your dream that you're dreaming becomes so successful that not only does it change your life, but it changes your life for generations? That's what you have to believe. It's that power of what if. What if I'm changing my family for a generation? And every time that thought pops up that's like, I could never, or I would never, I want you to immediately go, but what if I could? Like, really. So ignore the voices. Stop, make a dream, and then stop trying to figure out how you're going to do it. Stop trying to figure out how you're going to pay for it. Stop trying to figure out when it's going to happen. Don't put a timeline on it. Just freaking be excited and put it out there in the universe. I might be 80 years old when I finally get my 80-foot yacht. I might be. And that's okay, because you know what? I'm not going to be salty about it. I didn't say I will have an 80-foot super yacht in 2 years. I said I'm going to have an 80-foot yacht. And I'm not selling myself short like, oh, but they sell 200-foot ones. I don't want a 200-foot one. I see the 80-foot ones out here, and I'm not selling myself short. I think I don't want a crew of 10 or 15. I just want a captain in my family. So every time, just be so excited about your dream. Stop trying to figure it out. You're not going to. The universe is. You got to work. Now, I'm not just saying we're going to dream. We're going to write these things down. It's all going to come. We're not. We're going to work. But how many of you, by a show of hands, your biggest issue with your dreams is how much they cost and how much money you have? Every single person. And if you're like me, what would happen is you would dream of something you wanted. There's a watch that I've wanted for like 20 years. I know exactly how much it cost. And so forever, I've been like, this is what I have to do. This is what I have to sell. This is how hard I have to work to go buy this watch for myself. But what if I just always knew, like it's on my future board wall over here. What if I always knew I was going to get that watch? And what if I happened to go to some fancy charity event and they were giving one of those watches away with a raffle or a silent auction? What if I entered a raffle and I won it? Like, is that possible? Totally possible. At the event I was at yesterday, the jewelry store was giving away these super duper expensive diamond whatever earrings. All you had to do was buy a $10 raffle ticket. Somebody went home with those earrings for $10, and they were like a few $1,000 earrings. There was no money attached to that. You have to accept and let go of the money attachment to your dreams, because you know what that is? That's a broke mindset. So you worked on your broke mindset, right? Who thinks they maybe have a little money mindset problem? Everybody? Okay. That was my biggest thing. That's what I can help you the most with, I think. I mean, we're going to do all the steps, we're going to do things, but the change in the way I deal with money now compared to 3 months ago is like night and day. Night and day. Like, just to give you an idea, when my husband found out how much I was paying to be coached by Sarah, he lost his crap. He was so mad. And literally within 3 weeks of her working on my money mindset issues, he said, I don't even know how long you're making these payments, but it's worth it. Like, it has changed everything. So let's just talk about some of the main things. A broke mindset can come from a lot of things. It can come from growing up broke, from like going to the store with our parents and being told, asking for something. Because when we're little, we ask for all the things, right? Those of us that have kids, our kids want all the things. And how many times were we told, or do we say, we don't have the money for that right now? You know, we just don't have the money for that right now. No, you can't have it. We can't get that. Like, all the time. You know what you're putting out into the universe and manifesting? You don't have any money. You got no money. Guess what? You're not putting out into the world, we don't have the money for that right now, but we're probably going to have a lot of money in a few months, so we'll get it then. You're just reiterating that you don't have any money. And you're teaching that to your children. What is something you could say instead? If your kid says, I want this, and if we're being honest, there really isn't room in the budget right now to buy it, what could you say instead of, we don't have any money? It's killing me to say that right now because of the shift that I've taken, by the way. The fact that I keep saying that is like killing me. I say to Andrew, you know what? That's super awesome. Let's work on saving some money so that we can come back and get it. So I'm putting out there and I'm teaching him, we're going to work. So growth mindset, right? We're going to save some money, which means that it's possible to save money. And we're going to come back and we're going to get it. So for our children, that's huge. Those are 3 really huge things to teach our children. What if you learned them too? What if there's things that you really want, and instead of saying, we just don't have the money for that, or we're never going to be able to afford that, or I could never get that on my salary. What if you didn't say that? What if you just didn't attach money to it at all? Because that is when everything changes. When you remove the money from it, because the money has so much power. So here's some things that most people have heard all their life. There's never enough money. You'll always have to work hard to get by. You can never get ahead. Can't afford it. Life is hard. Money is finite. Money doesn't grow on trees. How many religious people have heard money's the root of all evil? Rich people behave badly. I feel like that's in a ton of movies. The book I just finished, the reason I hated it is because it was like this couple that made a ton of money and then they were absolute jerks. Like, that's out there too much. And so it kind of gets in our mind whether we think it or not. Like, when people have a lot of money, they're not very nice. But that's not true. And it just keeps you in a state of struggle. Debbie?
So I had one that was really interesting and eye-opening. Money is the ruler of the world.
Okay.
The world is bad. Money is bad.
Yeah. So just kind of your cycle of all
Yeah,
that.
but that's kind of the, that's kind of the thinking that money is the ruler. Money rules the world.
Yeah.
But the world is
it's a mess.
It is a mess. So money is bad.
Yeah. Yeah. So how do we stop this type of thinking?
So that one, how do you do the, like, take those and move them to the good things? Or is that
positive, kind of play mental tennis?
Yeah.
Offense, defense?
Yeah, that one went with good people with lots of money will change the world for the better. I am one of those people.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. And that goes along for the, there's a few of us on here that were at an event a few weeks ago, and one of the speakers, when she spoke about money, she said, yeah, there's some really bad people out there doing a lot of bad things with money. But if you make a crap ton of money, guess what? You can do a crap ton of good. Those were not her words. Those are my words. That's how I interpreted it. Like, if I have so much money, I'm a really good person. I can do a whole lot of good in the world. And that's a really good thing. I truly believe that, like, money doesn't make people bad. People are who they are. And the more money they get, they just become more of who they are, a more exaggerated version of who they are. So if you're good and you generally love people and you want to help people and you become a multimillionaire, guess what you're going to do? Love more people, help more people, change more people's lives. That's what you're going to make a bigger difference. That's what you're going to do. If you're barely getting by and you're barely making your car payments and you look at your bills every month and you're like, oh, we're going to pay all the bills, so that's great. How many lives are you changing? Not very many. You can change more lives the more money you have. Money is not bad. You can do a lot of great things with money. You have enough money, you could even overpower the bad guys with money. So here's the first step. You got to stop talking about money. Those people who have been my friends for a long time know this, and I already shared it with them, but this is really huge in my house. My husband is a saver, comes from money. I'm the opposite. I'm a spender who came from nothing. And so we have fought about money for well over a decade. And also, even when we're work fighting, even when we have more money, it became a big joke in our house. He would always say, go. Sorry. He would always say, okay, well then lay down. He would always say, we don't have any money. Like, he never budgeted. It wasn't like I'm all blurry. It wasn't like I messed up the budget. But if money got lower, he would always say, we don't have any money. Stop spending money. We don't have any money. So when I started with Sarah, I was like, don't get mad, but we're not going to say that anymore. He's like, I'm just joking. I'm not mad at you. And I go, no, we're not going to say that anymore. We're not going to put that phrase into our universe. We're not going to give it power, and we're not going to give it life, because your brain doesn't know the difference between the truth and a lie. It's scientifically proven. It has no idea. It only believes what you say over and over. So if you keep saying we don't have any money, or we'll never have enough money, or whatever it is that you're saying, your brain believes that. So it was really remarkable. So he stopped saying that. And within 2 weeks, he got a $20,000 raise. Like, we switched. She also, we recognized through coaching that the word saving money had a negative effect on me. It made me feel like it was a punishment. Like I had to save because I didn't earn enough. Or I had, it just, for some people, it's a fantastic phrase. For me, it wasn't. It just made me feel yucky, and it made me feel like I was being punished. So instead, I shifted it, and I started saying, I am building wealth. I am building abundant wealth. So a true story, when my son asks for things, I'll say, maybe in a little while we'll get that. Right now, we're building abundant wealth. So we need to work towards that because you want to go on a cruise or whatever. But I don't ever say save, because my mind automatically shifts that to a negative connotation. So I'm building wealth. Like when my friends go do something and I don't have the money to do it, I go, I'd love to, but I'm busy building wealth. Because you know what? I'm building wealth is way more powerful than I don't have any money to go do it. You see the difference in what I'm putting into the universe? If something, I want something, because I'm a shopper, but I've gotten 500 times better over the last 3 months. But instead of saying, I got to save money, or I just don't have any money for that, I literally say, I'm building wealth, so I can't do that right now. My friends have even sometimes started to, like, if they're planning something, like some of them are going to go take all their kids on the Polar Express train. Well, it's $100 for 2 tickets. And my friend said to me, she goes, you know, you're invited, let's plan, blah, blah, blah. But I know you're trying to build abundant wealth, so you may not want to go. True story. I don't want to spend $100 on a train ticket to eat a cookie and milk. I don't, because I'm building, I got bigger things. So those are phrases. Find out what your trigger is. You may be fine with save, but stop talking about money. You know what else I didn't realize until it was pointed out to me? You know who doesn't talk about money? Rich people. You know who talks about money all the time? Broke people. Broke people always be talking about how much money they don't have. Rich people, they're just doing their thing. Like the jerks, they talk about how much money they have, but they're jerks. They're not in our tribe anyway. People that just are good people that happen to have abundant wealth, they're not talking about money. They're not. So we're not talking about money. Here's when the Barkleys talk about money: on Saturday mornings. So if something comes up, if there's a question in the budget or a question on spending or whatever, it could come up daily. Like he'd be like, well, what'd you spend at Target today, or anything, and that created tension, and it would bring about issues. So we now only talk about money unless it's something urgent on Saturdays. We're both prepared for it. We're both in the right mindset for it. And on Saturdays, we sit down, we do Quicken, we balance the checkbook, and we look at the budget on Saturdays. You know why? Because we don't talk about money. You can't never talk about money. You're probably going to run out of money and not pay your bills, right? Or not build abundant wealth for a great vacation. But give it a time so that when it pops up and you start to worry, like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to have enough money to do X, Y, Z, immediately your head go, on Saturday, or whatever day you've given it, on Saturday we'll look at it and we'll see what we can figure out. Because the longer you're thinking in your mind that there's not enough of something, you're giving it power in your brain. That's what your brain's focusing on. So here's what I want you to do. When that negative or lack pops into your head, I want you to start thinking about one of your what if statements. Start thinking of one of your dreams. Because it's not good enough just to try to stop the negative thought. You have to replace it with something. You're going to think something. unless you're like the guru of meditation, which I'm going to safely say nobody on this call is, you're thinking something all the time. Think about the happy stuff. Because here's the other thing. As soon as you try to remove that negative thought, how long have you been thinking about that negative thought of not having enough money to do some of the big things you want? I don't know, a good decade probably, at least. When you take it away, your brain's going to throw a little fit. It's going to be a little salty. So what do? You put happy thoughts in it. You know, for your kids, when your kids, you take something away from them that they're super comfortable with and you take it away from them, they throw a fit until you do what? Replace it with something good. That's what we're doing with our thoughts. We are going to replace the negative with the good. So we really have to change our thoughts. Here's something else. And my poor husband, heaven help him for having me as a wife, as I've learned to become a certified life coach, because he's like my walking guinea pig at all times. So if he says something that I think is negative or just really not good, I literally say to him, is that thought serving you? And he's like, what? Like, is it serving you? Like, will anything good come from that thought that you have? From you thinking you might lose your job or that this deal's not going to go through? Does that serve you or does that hurt you? And if it doesn't serve you and it hasn't actually happened, you're just foreshadowing, you're creating anxiety and stress that's not needed. So ask yourself, is this thought serving me? And if it's not, think of a dream. So here are some tools. I want to give you some tools because it's not as easy as just recognizing it and saying, does this thought serve me? Choose a tool. So power mottos. We're going to work on power mottos. Did you guys write some money mottos in homework? You did. Okay. So choose some power mottos and freaking write them on Post-its or dry erase pen on your bathroom mirror. The people on here on my Plexus team know there's always crap taped to my bathroom mirror. All kinds of stuff telling me mottos, reminding me I'm building abundant wealth, whatever it is, reminding me of my goals. So whether it's a power motto, it could be the power of pause, where you just, again, stop the thought and you think to yourself, can I solve it right now? If you cannot solve it right now, then you say, I'm going to figure this out on Friday morning. And every time, because it's going to pop back up a few more times, right? It's going to pop up and just go, Friday morning, I'll work on that Friday morning. But I'll keep your promise to yourself on Friday morning, figure it out. But don't stress about it from Tuesday until Friday morning. Just when it pops up, pause. Can I answer this right now? And again, that goes with bills. Like if you don't get paid till Friday, do not be a nut job from Monday until Friday. Don't. You can't. If money is a little bit short, or you found some really cool shoes, but you can't afford them till you get paid, then go on Friday. Don't stress all week that maybe somebody else bought the shoes. Just don't. If you can't fix it right then, move it to a time when you will keep your promise to yourself and fix it. Let's see. The other thing really that's so important, and I touched on this already, and I touched on it on the what ifs, is separating your dream from the money. It really is amazing the way things happen when you just do not attach the two. Like I said, some lucky lady yesterday won thousands of dollars worth of a pair of earrings because she put $10 in the raffle. After I started this process, and it probably made no sense or wasn't important to anybody else, but when Andrew and I were in San Diego a few weeks ago, and we were supposed to meet my cousin who was supposed to have a pass for me to the zoo, but we were early, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, it's going to cost us like $100 and something to get into the zoo. And that's okay. I had the money, but I would have rather used it on something else. And I'm standing in line, and the lady in front of me turns around and says, do you want a ticket to the zoo? I have an extra one. Oh, and it has a free child's admission. Okay. All right. It cost me nothing but a freaking icy and a hot pretzel for my son at the zoo that entire day. That day easily could have cost me $200. It cost me an icy and a pretzel because I knew he wanted to go. I knew we wanted to take him. But when you take the money out of the equation, the universe kind of just starts giving you things. It's really, really bizarre. I will tell you something else, and please, please don't take this as bragging because I recognize how fortunate we are, but I also have to give credit where this process is due. Like I said, over the last 3 months, my husband and I, who have fought about money for 13 years, he has started going through this process with me of where we don't talk about a lack of, we don't talk about money except for on Saturdays. We use the terms, we're building wealth. We have dreams of where we want to travel, what we want to do, a house we want to buy. And we constantly now only speak of building wealth and how can we do things to build more wealth and what should we do. You guys, he was set all year. It looks like his bonus was going to be like $20,000 for his 2019 bonus, which is huge. Like, right? We're so grateful. He found out 2 weeks ago it's going to be between $80,000 and $120,000 for his bonus. That's more than the majority of people make in a year that he'll get on one paycheck. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed except for that both of us speak into the universe day in and day out now. We're building wealth. We're building wealth so we can buy a house. We're building, like we say it all the time. Our brains know nothing else but to believe it, and the universe is delivering it. It's a little bonkers. I'm telling you, he did nothing. He did nothing for his, like, nothing. That's the way the universe works, but you have to believe it and you have to trust it. Okay, what time is it? 12:45. Questions, thoughts, processes? Tell me what you got. Debbie, you always have something. Tiffany, you unmuted. Go.
I do. I have a funny, so
Tell
I
me.
was reading and finishing last night, and so Jeremy and I love the location of our house. Like, I never want to move anywhere else, but we don't necessarily love our house. So we talk about all the time how we're going to tear this house down and build the house we want on this piece of property. But the house I want to build does not fit on this piece of property. Our lot is too small for the house I want to build. And so I was thinking last night through my things, I'm like, what if we could build our dream house? So then the next thought that came into my mind was, but it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit. So then my next thought, I was like, nope, I'm playing defense. So my next thought was, okay, we'll buy the house next door and tear that one down too and combine them.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, that's funny. Like, we'll just buy the house next door too, and then it will fit.
When you take money out of it, that's absolutely what you'll do. You'll buy the lot next door.
Yeah, and we'll tear down that house and we'll combine the lots and build our house.
Yeah, and one day then you'll buy the next lot and you'll have the biggest yard ever.
And it'll be great.
It will be great. Who else?
I just thought that was so funny that I just finished reading that. Then of course this thought pops in, it doesn't fit. Well, too bad, I'll make it fit.
Yeah. Instead of shutting your dream down, like, stop shutting them down. Like, it'll work.
So my husband is a thinker. He's a mechanical engineer. Everything has to be in an equation. Nothing outside of the equation. We go to the grocery store. If it's not on the list, it doesn't get bought. Well, it does, but
yeah,
that's his motto. Anyway, so he had never been to Disneyland. I'm giving you this story because I want you to see how this really works. This was when I had 9 kids. I wanted to take a family vacation to Disneyland. He had never been. He was 9 kids, working his butt off, trying to support 9 kids. How are you going to ever take 9 kids to Disneyland? How? Just how? So I said, look, if I can figure it out, can we do it? He's like, whatever, So I put that out there and I was like, we're going to go to Disneyland. And I went online. I was looking, and we did our taxes, and we were going to have about $1,700 unassigned was what it was going to come back to be. So as I was putting things together on what it would cost for us to go to Disneyland, it was exactly $1,700 for us to take our 9 kids to Disneyland through deals that I found and things that happened. So I firmly believe in all of this because that's what it took. It took me, it's not that, I mean, and it didn't fall in my lap. I had to do the work.
You have to do the work.
It wasn't a thing that, you know, fell in my lap. But so I also have one other thing. Who on here, when they were reading the story of her son meeting Michael O'Hare, did you just cry when she wrote, he walks across the field and says, so I hear you want to meet somebody. You're looking for me. Oh yeah, a little choked up there.
It's amazing. She cries every time she tells the story. Every time she tells the story, she cries because it was so huge.
I have a child that had a dream, and she wanted to dance on the high school dance team in a school where the people that made that dance team had been dancing since they were 3 years old and had been taking classes since they were 3 years old, but we couldn't afford it. So she had only been taking dance classes through her junior high school years. But she tried out and she made the dance team. Every time she performed, I cried because she had a dream and she knew it, and she was able to do it. So firmly believe this.
It's huge. Anything else? Erin, I know you got to go back to work. Crystal, you got to go back to work. Anything you want to share before you go back to work?
Me personally, I'm just excited. I do believe in this. It's just, I guess I said I'm split between a dreamer and a thinker. And I think I am more of a dreamer. My husband's the thinker. And so over the years, I've definitely leaned towards the thinker portion. But, you know, my husband and I bought a fantastic piece of property a couple of years ago to build our dream house. And we haven't. It keeps going, well, we can't afford it. We can't afford it. And so when I saw this, I thought, okay, this is definitely something I need to do. So,
because as long as you keep saying that, you'll never say anything else. Like you'll never magically all of a sudden it switched to, oh, look, I can afford it. You've been saying I can't afford it for 3 years. So
absolutely.
You'll afford it. Anybody else want to share anything before we go?
I kind of agree with Erin. My husband is a thinker to like the umpteenth degree. And he grew up without really anything. Money was always an issue. And so he fixates and stresses on it to the umpteenth degree. So I think me trying to share these things with him and getting him on board is probably going to be one of my biggest roadblocks, honestly. It's probably going to take me a while to get him to agree to like being open to this and working through this and completely 180 degree changing his mindset. So
it takes a minute. Rob did not come to this easily. It really has been as he's seen things. Again, it's that when they see us succeed, right? And I don't mean like succeed like all of a sudden I'm a Plexus Diamond. When he sees me succeeding at like building wealth instead of shopping every day. When he started to see, like I said, this is what I'm working on. All right. You know me, Kristy, always the learner. She's just going to learn something else until she picks up the next book. As he has seen the things in me shift, now he's totally bought in. Now he actually has one of his employees that he wants me to go through this process with. Because he's like, I've tried, I can't help him. You can. You know, now he comes in here and he looks at all my future board pictures and is like, okay, but he has to see you succeed first. Like, just start working on it. Let him know what's happening, but don't try to switch him until you start succeeding, and then he'll buy in. He did the same thing with you with Plexus, right? He was totally against it until he saw the changes and was like, oh, okay, that's what men do. They think we're little Looney Tunes, but they love us. So be a Looney Tune, because we're going to be the best, most successful Looney Tunes out there, I tell you. All right, anybody else? I know everybody's got to go.
So,
Oh, there's Marquez. Marquez going to talk.
no, I was just going to say, as I was going through the money is, thing and listing out my words, I realized I'm getting through them and all of my words are very positive. And then it was funny because I started thinking, okay, so what's wrong with me? Like, why are they positive when, like, I don't know. It was funny because I just was thinking, well, where's the negativity there? And I didn't have it. But then as I got thinking more just now, actually, any negative with money comes from my husband's side. That's like, I grew up and I honestly, apparently we had money. I honestly thought we didn't, but that was never like a thing. But my husband grew up the same. His parents had money, but they were not willing to give them money. He bought his own clothes from the time he was like 12. And like, that was just kind of how their dynamic was. But so I really struggled on the power mottos for the money, because I just, like, for me, I guess maybe I should do power mottos for me with dealing with my husband's negativity. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, do you want me to read some of mine to you? And if you guys need to jump off, feel free to jump off. I'm going to read some of mine to you and see if any of them hit home for you or if they would be valuable to you. Again, these are the ones I wrote back in July. So I imagine they've gotten better. I'm not going to try to alter them. I'm just going to read to you what I wrote in July, okay?
Okay.
Money allows me to bless so many people around me. The more money I have, the more blessings I can give. I am worthy and ready to receive financial abundance. There is always more than enough money and prosperity for me, so I can save wisely. Wealth and abundance are my reward for all this hustle. It is already in progress. I don't think you focus on changing your husband. I think you focus on being independent with your own thoughts instead of taking his on.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And I like yours because it's not like they were, I mean, from what I took from them, they weren't, oh, I have this negative and now I'm forcefully changing it. It's just still more positive.
It's still more positive. I have to feel worthy. I have to feel ready. And we'll work through more money things specifically that I'm happy to work with you guys on, that she helped me work on. A lot of my mindset issues with money came from my fear of being judged by other people. I learned that I felt more comfortable being average. Like I would succeed at something, I'd do really great, and then I'd go right back down to average because I didn't want to intimidate anybody or make anybody feel uncomfortable or have anybody judge me for thinking I thought I was better than them. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's kind of where I'm more at.
So I
too.
had to, we can even do a one-on-one, Marquez, and dig into that deeper.
Okay.
But really just owning the fact that you are absolutely worthy of abundant wealth. You're worthy of it, and it's coming to you. Abundant wealth is on its way to you. And just don't worry about your husband. I get it. All of us have spouses, and it's so hard to separate our thoughts and dreams from theirs. But that's what I want you to do in this process. And like I told Crystalline, I think they will buy into it. But for now, this is about you. We'll work on that next block next month or next week. And it really, you'll recognize a lot, I think, when you read it. We as women oftentimes take ownership of what everybody else wants, and we put their wants above ours. And I want you to learn this is about you. Your future board pictures when we're done are not going to have pictures of what your husband wants. They're going to have pictures of what you want. I am giving you permission over the next 6 weeks to be completely selfish with your dreams, goals, and aspirations. If your husband wants a big wood, a log cabin somewhere and you want a big brick house with pillars, you know what I want you to put on your future board? A big brick house with pillars. I don't want you to put your husband's log cabin on there. That's his future board. You guys will figure it out when it's time. This is going to be all about you. Does that make sense? It's hard. We're women. We make it about our kids and our husbands. This isn't. This is where this is you. We're changing you. Can you do that?
Kristy,
Yeah.
can I chat with you for a few minutes at some point?
Yeah.
I have a huge roadblock that is not really something that's group worthy.
Yeah. I have set up a calendar thing, and I'm going to put it in the team where you guys can sign up for one-on-one calls. Because as you work through this, if you have things that are one-on-one time thing, let's do it. I got time for that. My goal is for you to truly succeed at this. And for a lot of you, it's going to take a few one-on-one coaching calls. So I'll get that up, Debbie, and you can get it scheduled.
Thanks.
Good. Anybody else before we jump off? You guys are awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being in my very first of what's going to be many future board book studies. Let me know if you need anything, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Do you have next week's assignment already done?
I'll post it right after this.
Okay.
Okay, bye.